Good evening. This is Rudy Giuliani, and this is the Rudy Giuliani Show. And today, July 14th, 2025, is in Paris, in France, Bastille Day. Ha! Except that was a long time ago. Bastille Day was in 1798. I think that's right, 1798, and it followed upon the American Revolution. I would say to a very large extent, very large extent, influenced by maybe the greatest document ever written, aside from the Bible, the Declaration of Independence, and today was, according to all historians, the single biggest celebration of Bastille Day in Paris, France. Now, I think there's a reason for that, and I think and there you see the great Cathédrale de Notre Dame, the Cathedral of Notre Dame. There you see the French fighter planes. We haven't seen France this invigorated militarily since Napoleon. Look at that. Look at that. This is very, very good for the United States of America. I believe, and please don't get insulted if you happen to be a partisan of his, this could be called Donald Trump makes Macron a man, like in The Godfather, when the singer is crying because he can't get the part. Oh, Godfather, I will get the part, I will get the part. The Godfather doesn't take any of that. He slaps him across the face and he says, be a man, men don't cry. So this started when Trump told him, you're gonna have to defend yourself, you know, guys. It's getting a little bit, things are getting a little too tough around here for us to just be defending you all the time. Now, whether we could or we couldn't defend all of Europe, which of course we kind of have been doing, right? Isn't it better if we can defend all of Europe? They can defend themselves. I want you to consider the following. The economic burden of military defense is massive, particularly with the pressure that the Chinese are putting on us. Their navy in size, but not in complexity, has passed the United States. Their army, of course, could easily pass the United States, given their large numbers of troops, but they are way behind in every other respect. Strategically, they're not as prepared for war as we are. We've just been, if you think about it, we've never been out of war. I mean, the Second World War is over, the Cold War begins, the Korean War starts, the Korean War is over, we have little actions here and there. Then we have the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War is over, couple more actions, then we have to go into the middle of Europe, little things here, little things there, and then the worst terrorist attack in American history and the response. First, the capture of Iraq, which we made look easy, and it was. Why? What makes you think the capture of Iran would be that much harder? The Iranians and the Iraqis fought each other for 8-9 years to a standstill. We fought Iraq for twice altogether, beat them twice in 10 years, and extended for the second time 1/5 of the effort we did the first time, because we realized we overdid it. Now, our occupation arguably was a failure, but not our defeat of them. It wasn't even a war. Even with the Iranian Quds Force really making up most of the battle for them. But we pretty much made mincemeat of the Iranian Quds Force, and then eventually of their leader, Soleimani, in return for the thousands and thousands of American young men and women that bastard killed. So when Trump came into office just a short while ago, these countries weren't thinking of defending themselves. They're going to ride on America again. Now that's not good for us. And believe it or not, like Rutte, the Secretary General of NATO says, like a good father, like a good daddy, Trump wants to make his children self-sufficient. And really, honestly, what use are they in NATO if they're not? So I was very impressed with today's Bastille Day parade. They had a couple of mishaps. A soldier bled, and a horse fell to the ground. But hey, the French have not exactly been, since Napoleon, the joke used to be, if you declare war on France, they'll surrender. But not with Trump goosing him in the back and telling Macron, Macron is afraid that he may go home. I mean, he's like between the rock and a hard place. If he doesn't do this, Trump is going to embarrass him, make fun of him, and beat him up all around the world. And if he doesn't make good on it, his wife has promised to kick his ass. And you saw what she did to him on that train, right? Come here, Macron, little baby. So good. Today he put on quite a Bastille Day to recognize the great action in 1789 when all the political prisoners, when the Bastille prison was attacked and all the political prisoners were released. And that was a revolution at its purest. Now, the French Revolution went through, and that's a whole history of its own. If you ever want to have a separate course on it, maybe we'll do one on a podcast. But this was a great moment in French history and the turning point. It took a long time to all work out. It had to go through a couple of dictatorships, a monarchy or two. Oh, gosh almighty, who knows what. The Congress of Vienna, the First World War, the Second World War, Vietnam. And then years and years of kind of a laissez-faire, will depend on America after de Gaulle. But maybe Trump, like he did with Great Britain, they're doing the same thing, kick them in the ass. 7,000 military personnel. Unusual for the Bastille Day nowadays, in combat gear. Who do you think they're sending that message to? Putin, directly. The country being honored was Indonesia. Exactly how they do that, I don't know. They honor a particular country. Why? Don't know what Indonesia had to do with the French Revolution. I don't think very much. But it was the largest contingent of military forces ever to march down for the Bastille Day. I would imagine when the Nazis did, that was the largest. Or maybe when the Americans liberated under Eisenhower. And President Emmanuel Macron, who is an enigma of an enigma. There are times in which he can be rather patriotic and magnificent. Never since 1945 has freedom been so threatened. That's a shout out to Europe, isn't it? That isn't America saying that. That's France. If it's France, that's Germany. It sure as hell is Italy. In fact, the Prime Minister of Italy can say it in a much more forceful voice than Macron. It sure as hell is Hungary. I know they're afraid of Hungary, but I like them as an ally. That's Poland. I like them a lot as an ally. That's the new United Kingdom. Oh, they may not, none of them may be Israel. But they're getting there. They're getting there. He wants the French military to have operational Credibility. There's a reason for that. For the longest time, very often in a NATO operation, they'd show up, but they wouldn't fight. I guess they'd cook. You know, if you didn't get killed in the battle, you could have French cooking when you came back. To the embarrassment of their troops, by the way. This is the French people. You get out of Paris, the French people are like the Italian people. They're like the Spanish people. They're like the Portuguese people. They're like the German people. It's their horrible leadership. Oh. But the head of their military, or the head of their 7th Armored Brigade started talking like a soldier. This is a clear demonstration of our determination and effectiveness. Putin, thank you. President Trump, you are brilliant. For all the stuff about destroying NATO, this could be, right now, NATO as most enthusiastic. It's certainly, even before we get to 5%, they all got their 2.5% to 3% in. Some are at 3.5%, including the USA and Poland is pushing 5%. These guys are ready. What Putin did shook them up. Now, the president noted that today. And look, you know, I know the president, and I have a lot of conversations with him. I've got to tell you one thing about the president that is should be very comforting to you. I don't know much more than you know. Because he is so transparent, so open. And when it's classified, he's extraordinarily careful. Even when I was his lawyer, he was extraordinarily careful. But I probably can interpret him a little better than you can for knowing him for so long and being with him under difficult circumstances. He likes what he sees in Europe now. Do we have the piece where he talks about how morale in Europe is so high? I'm going to contrast this for a moment historically. When President Bush came back from one of his first meetings in Europe, he had a ceremony at St. Patrick's Cathedral to mark one of its anniversaries. And President Bush spoke at the anniversary. And President Bush told me and George Pataki both, and several of the others of us that were there, that he was so disappointed in this is before 9/11, he was so disappointed in the lack of morale of the European leaders. Well, this of course, marked all of Trump's first term, and a little bit at the beginning here. I can tell you the last couple of times, it's changed. And now when his Ukraine policy has moved around, this is a formidable NATO they put together. Do we have that, Ted?
We have some clips.
He talks about how something like he hasn't seen the morale much better than this.
Well, let's play what we have, and we'll look for
Okay,
that.
then we
do have him from the meeting. Let's play.
This is very, very, I don't know, you might notice I'm very excited. This is very exciting to me. I would tell you 5 years ago, I never thought this was possible, to wake Europe up again.
Before.
C-SPAN.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a honor, great honor, to have a friend of mine who's become very friendly over the last number of years. We knew each other before, but Mark is the head of NATO, Mark Rutte, Secretary General of NATO. Highly respected by everybody that knows him, but in particular the European countries. They have great reliance on him. And he's done a fantastic job. And we had a tremendous meeting, I guess it's about a month ago. And I think Mark will tell you that it was really perhaps more important, the date of November 5th. That was the election day. Maybe that was the most important, because we've made tremendous progress together. And one of the reasons that you're here today is to hear that we are very unhappy, I am, with Russia. But we'll discuss that maybe a different day.
Do you know every time he says we're going to discuss it a different day, you know we're going to talk about it today? I don't know. Maybe I know him too well. I just find him It's weird when you know a guy this well, right? And in a way, we all do. I mean, I guess I have a little more insight, but sometimes I feel like I still find him humorous. He can tell the same joke over and over again, and I find him humorous. Like when he does I miss the rallies. He's only done one. What about the snake story? We haven't heard the snake story in almost a year now, Ted.
Yeah.
I mean, do you miss it? Which one do you like, the long or the short?
The long version.
All right. I don't think that anybody ever asked for the short one. But in any event, somewhere along the way, he talks about the morale. But here's the point. We now have a new Ukrainian policy. We now have a new NATO policy. We now have a new European alliance. And it's probably the most real that it has been in a long time. And it's getting to be even more cordial. It has at times been much more cordial, but totally phony. Now it's real. Like they're really contributing troops. So here's the deal, as the moron used to say. The deal is America is going to supply the defensive weapons that were held back by the inscrutable, crazy, insane, cowardly, and traitorous Biden administration that led and encouraged Ukraine into war, but never gave them the ability to win it. That has to be some kind of a double mortal sin, huh? You get them into a war, stop Russia from taking all of it, but make sure that they can keep their 20%, and Ukraine has no way of getting rid of them. And then has to agree ultimately to them keeping that 20% because they can't dislodge them, which I don't know if Biden even knew it, but which contains 33% of the rare earth materials and et cetera that may or may not be critical to us in our war with China if we have a war with China. Now, to get even the Biden Communist Committee that ran him to understand that and then to act on our behalf in that way is way beyond them. It's like, when you go from trigonometry to calculus. Like calculus is, I don't even think they can spell it. So the reality is that now we are going to supply, number one, the weapons that they need to defend themselves, meaning the missiles, similar to what Israel has, the missile batteries that will defend the civilian population as well as military of Ukraine, because Putin, unlike Israel, deliberately hits the civilian populations of Ukraine, the way the Iranians deliberately hit the civilian population of Israel when Israel basically destroyed their military, not their civilians, which is probably the worst Marxist turnaround of fact that the Israelis deliberately kill civilians. It's just the opposite. They try very hard not to kill civilians because, number one, they're decent people and humane, and number two, they're smart people and know that it'll be used against them. So I know we have Jupiter missiles. I know we have intercontinental ballistic missiles in the mix. Don't think we're going to get a great deal of information. With certain exceptions, what can be used for defense can be used for offense as well. Patriot missiles, at least two of our major interceptor systems. Now, we're not giving it to them. We're selling it to, we call it Europe. We're selling it to NATO. NATO's going to pay us for it. part of which is our money. So, NATO is going to pay us for it. A little unclear on who's going to operate it. Now, some, not all, of these systems require real expertise to operate. When we first started sending over some of these that they had but were not allowed to use, and I assume now they'll be able to use them, they said it would take about a year to train the Ukrainians to use them. The ones we're sending over now are usable immediately. First, the Ukrainians have been trained, but more importantly than that, they're going to go to NATO. So you have two possibilities here. We have, over the course of many years, trained our trusted NATO allies to operate a lot of this equipment, whether that be the UK, France, Italy, Germany. Some of the Eastern European countries at this point are enormously enthusiastic with high morale to do this. I mean, no one fears Russia more than they do or as much to lose. So we won't have to be in a position where Putin can say, Americans are operating this, only Americans can operate it. Not true. Our NATO allies can operate it. Now, sometimes it might be hard to tell us from our NATO allies. I don't know. What do you think? Just raising it. In any event, this will allow the Ukrainians to combat the missile attacks. I assume the drone attacks, although it's only lately that Russia has been heavy on the drones. It's the Ukrainians that have actually done much more damage with the drones. And it's the Ukrainians who have done a much better job of infiltrating Russia so that you can operate the drones right next to the police station. Now, you have to credit Ukrainian intelligence, as well as a substantial amount of Russian distaste for this war. I do not believe, for all the garbage that you hear, that this is a universally popular war in Russia. And I don't think the Russian ability to keep information from their people is anything like it is, let's say, in China, although there it's not perfect either, or let's say in North Korea, where it is perfect. And there's to the extent that you can get information out of Russia, there is a substantial amount of distaste for this war, including with the military. Very, very hard to explain to Russian parents why their kids lost life to take Ukraine. I mean, half of them are their relatives, and they went and slaughtered them. The Ukrainians did a pretty good job of slaughtering that. It may very well be that the Russian death toll, even though Ukraine was invaded, is higher than the Ukrainian. I mean, they didn't win this war, but they didn't lose it either. They held it into a position where a lot of damage can be done now. Also, depending on how far they want to push it, they can now attack pretty far into. They can go up to the Asian line, to the Urals, and past. There's much more Russia after that. So that's number one. The second thing that he said, the secondary boycott is a crusher. If it works 60%, it'll crush the Russian economy. What that means is Russia can no longer sneak around, let's put it that way. They can't sell oil to Uzbekistan and then have Uzbekistan sell the oil to Germany. And Germany, if you haven't noticed, over the course of this war, before it started, and this may even take you back before 14, but their best ally in Europe, the one they had patched things up with the most, was Germany. Now Germany is, we don't have much of a relationship with the German government anymore. It's probably the weakest of all the governments in Europe for us. But I got to tell you, they and the Russians are out. O-U-T, out. The Germans are putting together, under NATO, a very, very large force. They want to be on the front lines. They may have, in fact, turned a little bit too much to China, which we got to watch. The others haven't, but Germany has. And the whole situation in Germany is very, very complicated by the strangulation of political forces there. Although I think on Russia, we're 100%. On everything else, we got to watch Germany very carefully. Do we have an ally against China with Germany? Do we have an ally against China with Eastern Europe? 100%. 100%. Even the new countries, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, independently have taken on China. But right now, their focus, our focus has to stay on China and Russia, but their focus to help us. And this is why Trump fought so hard to do this. The more he can get out of Europe to contain Russia, the more we have available to contain China, where they can be helpful, but they're Japan, Taiwan, South Korea. A little bit of a stretch, but I see it. I can see it. Vietnam. And then, of course, the big one, if we can break them away from BRICS, India. Because of the Trump derangement syndrome, the intellectual capacity of our usual foreign policy analysts is gone. If this were normal times, you would see some really great articles in a magazine I love, Foreign Policy, about the secondary level and the tertiary level of American foreign policy. It is a really, it's really complex. And each one of these things has a number of levels to it. And I really have to attribute that to Donald Trump. And I think he's trained. I honestly think he's training his people in it. It's brilliant. I think even Henry Kissinger, if he were alive, who has some of the responsibility for things having gone a little too far toward China, but there was nobody who could think on. I mean, Henry could develop foreign policy the way Bach wrote cantatas. Want to know what that means? What that means is that Bach wrote contrapuntal music, which means he could have 3, 4, 5, 6 different strands of music, different tunes, if we want to call it that, different melodies, different beats going along at the same time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But you just heard it this way. And one of the great things about listening to Bach, when you can get yourself to the level of starting to pick them apart and hear them. Of course, the musicians hear them because they play them. Well, the levels of policy with regard to Russia are like that. We've got different levels. And I don't know if Putin knows right now where we're coming from. We're not going to be operating this equipment, but it's our equipment. We're not even going to pay for it. They're going to pay us. But then the institution that's going to pay us, we pay money to. And who does the accounting? And I don't know, when they're in uniform, we have French Americans, we have German Americans, we have English Americans, we have Italian Americans. You're going to tell the difference of who's setting off that missile? Is it an Italian kid from Brooklyn or an Italian kid from Salerno? Not that we would do that. Putin, you've met your match, you jackass. You should have gone with your first instinct, which is don't take them on. Wait them out. Try it. What's 4 years? Oh, you could be dead. I forgot that. Okay. So let's see how this Ukraine strategy works. I don't think that Zelensky is going to have any trouble utilizing it. Whatever else you think of Zelensky, and I have real problems with Zelensky. I don't think he's afraid to take on Russia. In fact, here's the strangest thing about the crooked Ukrainians. Even the bad oligarchs who steal all their money from their people. I know you're going to find this like a contradiction. They're patriotic. So Zelensky's patron, or in Brooklyn and New York, we call him his rabbi, was a guy named Kolomoisky. Kolomoisky was the biggest money launderer, certainly in Ukraine, certainly in Eastern Europe, reputed to be better than the Russians. He laundered all the Biden money. He laundered all the money that was taken away by the pro-Russian regime that was tossed out in 2014. We're talking billions of dollars. And he laundered the money for himself. At the same time, when the Russians invaded, he went back to his hometown and he led a brigade, almost got killed, we did get wounded, and is a hero in that town and is persona non grata with the World Bank for being a massive crook. And the money he stole was from his people. But then he put his life on the line for his people. You go figure it out. And what I told you is not unusual for these organized criminal oligarchs. So this could be an interesting phase in this war. And this guy, Ruddy, Rich. Oh, come on, Ted. We worked on this before. We were working on pronunciations.
Rutte.
Rutte.
What?
Rutte.
Oh, Rutta.
Rutta. It was a little bit different than the spelling.
Mr. Daddy.
Yeah.
I like him. We
like
should try to get him on the show.
We should.
I think we can have fun with him.
Right.
It looks like he has a sense of humor.
He does. Yeah. I agree.
I think this guy is going to be okay. Oh, we're not going to be involved, but we have a general as an administrator. Well, that makes sense, right? I hope they kick his ass. Never liked, you know this, right? I've shared this with you. Never liked Putin. There's no love lost between. I mean, I never liked. I don't know. I should make that more complex. I believe that Putin is basically, if you could describe him in one concept, he's a professional stone cold killer. And I think when people are stone cold killers from the time they're very young, they have no soul. They lose it. They lose any sense of humanity. And I felt that at ground zero with them. I felt it. It's like it just came up. Maybe it's haven't dealt with so many killers. And then when I spoke to him, the one time I had a fairly decent conversation with him, I had the same impression. And I was arrogant and ever enough to just say that to both Colin Powell, who didn't disagree with me, and President Bush, who really didn't disagree with me. But I just wondered about President Bush's remark about he saw his soul or something. I don't think there is a soul. And then I do agree he's charming, but he's a stone cold killer. Well, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we're going to talk about something that we should talk about openly. And that is the efforts of the reign of terror to assassinate our president and to kill many other Americans, including the one you're looking at. So I have a personal stake in this, but not just for my own life, because the life of my president is more important. We'll be right back.
Whether it's being a weekend warrior or spending time with your family, feeling your best is the key to doing the things you love. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Nirvanta. It's a natural solution designed to help you stay active and live well naturally. Nirvanta is a topical blend of all natural essential oils like frankincense, myrrh, and a proprietary gold standard plant stock extract. It's perfect for your hands, feet, knees, back, or anywhere else that needs a little extra care. Use Nirvanta proactively as part of your daily maintenance routine, and you're guaranteed you're going to feel the difference. Simply massage Nirvanta in for at least 60 seconds, 2 to 3 times a day to get the best results. And if you're not completely satisfied, you get your money back. No questions asked. There's simply no risk and no reason not to try Nirvanta today. Right now, you get 15% off with code Lindell exclusively at NirvantaHealth.com. So stop reaching out for that medicine cabinet. Get Nirvanta instead and experience the difference. Go to NirvantaHealth.com. Use code Lindell to get 15% off today. Nirvanta Health. Live well naturally.
Friends, we all know the truth. Big Pharma and the federal bureaucracy have made a mess of healthcare in this country, and boy, that's an understatement. President Trump signed an executive order to bring prices down, and that's a great step. But we know that real change takes time. There's one pharmacy that is already stepping up. I want to tell you about All Family Pharmacy. They're not waiting. They're taking action now with a summer sale that gives you the power to take control of your health. Right now, through the end of June, you get 20% off site-wide, no insurance required. Did you hear that? 20% off site-wide, no insurance required. They work with licensed doctors in all 50 states, and they ship fast straight to your door. Whether it's ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, methylene blue, antibiotics, emergency kits, or your daily prescriptions, this is a time to stock up. If you believe in medical freedom, if you're tired of waiting for someone else to fix things, do what I do. Take action. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Lindell and use promo code Lindell20, Lindell 20 for 20% off your entire order. That's allfamilypharmacy.com Lindell. Promo code Lindell20. Let's protect our families, defend our freedom, and make America healthy again together.
With everybody talking about making America healthy again, I thought today'd be a great day to talk to all my fellow patriots about the importance of making your homes healthy again. Well, we have proudly partnered with airwaterhealing.com and their revolutionary whole home air purification system. The V3 from Air Water Healing does 3,000 square feet of purification. It eliminates dust, mold, viruses, and odors. But here's the part I love. They require no filters to ever be changed and virtually no maintenance. Whether you suffer from asthma, allergies, seasonal bronchitis, or just want to protect your family from the flu or even greater threats, don't wait to get your V3 from airwaterhealing.com today. Use code Lindell for 20% off in savings and free shipping. That's promo code Lindell at airwaterhealing.com. The last time President Trump was in office, gold soared 50% and silver went up a huge 53%. Americans who invested in silver and gold during Donald Trump's first presidency are very happy that they did it. And right now, gold continues to soar to the highest numbers in history. These gains are just an appetizer for what's to come. Some market analysis are saying that gold is predicted to rise another 30% in the next year alone. So now's the time to invest in gold and silver, and that's why I partnered with Fisher Liberty Gold. Fisher Liberty Gold is a conservative-owned and operated precious metals investment company. They even helped my good friend President Trump get elected through their contributions to Turning Point USA and other conservative groups. I have dedicated my life to ensuring that people get the best sleep ever. And in addition to owning a MyPillow, I can now sleep well at night knowing that you can all protect your savings with precious metals with Fisher Liberty Gold. With Fisher Liberty Gold, you can sleep well knowing that your retirement is secure. And if you call now, you're going to receive your very own presidential gold guide and qualify for up to $20,000 in free silver. But wait, there's more. Call now or text metals to 26786 to receive your presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty. And for a limited time, I will send you a free MyPillow for qualified accounts. This presidential gold guide from Fisher Liberty will tell you exactly why you need to own gold even while Donald Trump is president. And just by calling in, you get a free MyPillow for a limited time for qualified accounts, and up to $20,000 in free silver. So don't wait. Call 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today. That's 1-888-4GOLD-19 or text metals to 26786 today to receive your free MyPillow and up to $20,000 in free silver.
Welcome back to the Rudy Giuliani Show on LindellTV. Well, today, or maybe it was yesterday, it was first revealed, but the State Department revealed something. Of course, it didn't get the attention it deserves. I don't know. Well, let's just say it. It revealed a plot by an organization known as the Blood Covenant, which is an Iranian movement. And they are raising or have raised $40 million, kind of weird, as part of a crowdfunding campaign. I never heard of a crowdfunding campaign to assassinate President Donald J. Trump. Now, this is just part of a long series of, the American media, even the conservative media, give so little attention to these assassination attempts that it's, I don't know if you realize, I think we know that there was a threat to President Trump somewhat before the attack, a year ago at Butler County. And we know that the fatwa, which is when an Ayatollah puts a death sentence on you, was issued by the Ayatollah Khamenei. However, I don't think you know that a large number of fatwas over the year preceding that were issued against President Trump. Now, a large number, a dozen? Now, that's serious because those can be picked up by very, very organized groups like this Covenant group is, or it can be picked up by single individual wacko Muslims who want to get to heaven. The stipulation of the fatwas, the main one is, this one is, I am now being visited by an unidentified flying object. Our friend Stephen is playing with a drone, which is no play drone. This drone is, I think, almost gone to Portsmouth, right? You should have seen it the other night. Well, we're going to play film of this for you. That's what we have it for. We're going to play film of this for you to show you the New England countryside, which is absolutely gorgeous, I got to tell you. But in any event, the fatwas that were issued back in 2023 and 2024, there were so many of them that it is impossible to really separate them from the Butler County attempted assassination, and let's call it the Palm Beach attempted assassination. Now, why is it impossible to separate them? Because as far as I have seen, no significant investigation has been done to try to prove if that's so. So, I mean, it is impossible to prove a negative, but it is possible to accumulate a body of evidence that makes it likely or unlikely. I've seen no body of evidence other than the fact that before the two attacks by these two people we know very little about, suspiciously very little about, Iran and the highest level ayatollahs of Iran encouraged assassinating Trump, both in an organized way or if somebody wanted to pick up the fatwa some crazy assassin, like in a Taxi Driver. Sometime watch the movie, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's the movie that possibly inspired Hinckley to attempt to assassinate President Trump. You might not know that Hinckley actually originally was thinking of assassinating Carter. It wasn't about Carter. It wasn't about Trump. It was about Jodie Foster. And Jodie Foster was a star of that movie. He thought he was going to make an impression with her. So you think about these fatwas, right? So these fatwas have at least two purposes. One is very, very, very well organized and fits right into the organizations that they control, which are many, right? Now, they're weakened, but they still exist. And some of them are highly sophisticated and very big, or were, and some of them are just little groups of people. But these fatwas are an encouragement to any of them. And they're spiritual in nature. So the one we're hearing about here is 40 grand and a one-way ticket to paradise. It's a one-way ticket to paradise because except for Jesus Christ, nobody's come back. And these people are not on Jesus Christ's side. They're on the other side. They're the ones who are killing the people who believe in Jesus Christ. So I do not understand why these don't get more attention, why they didn't get more attention then, why there isn't more focus on, come on, government, tell us what you got on these extremely serious threats and two attempts on this man's life. And who knows how many aborted attempts, because quite rightly, they don't tell us about those. When I was the Associate Attorney General, the U.S. Attorney, and the Mayor of New York, I'm not going to tell you how many attempts I knew on the life of Ronald Reagan and George, and for a short while, President Bush, but for a much longer time, President Clinton. It is so bad that you have to be very, very careful that you don't overlook them. You know, it's like when you get all this hate mail and nothing happens and nothing happens and nothing happens, and then after a while, and then all of a sudden there's the real one, and you don't. Professionally, you can't let that happen. So now we've got this group, and it's pretty damn bold. The Blood Covenant is claiming to have crowdfunded more than $40 million as a reward, and this is their own description of it, for assassinating President Donald Trump. And this comes from the Middle East Research Institute. A website for the movement has a poster of Trump in crosshairs with an appeal to donate in order to help establish stable peace. It added that the poster quotes a verse, the group who uncovered it, a verse from the Quran. So don't tell me this isn't religiously inspired. It's like a quote from the Bible. This is coming from the Muslim religion. And I haven't heard a whole bunch of Muslims saying this should be crossed out of the Quran. And it reads, strive with your wealth and your lives in the cause of Allah. This is a call to jihad, inviting donors to give their money and sacrifice their lives. The organization says this poster gives religious legitimacy to assassinating Trump. Who among the leading Muslim prelates has condemned this? Come on. Oh, none. I'm not saying they all want to do this. I'm not saying they all are like this. I am saying that don't accuse me of being some kind of bigot when I say they have their damn mouth shut. Where's the Grand Mufti Pufti of Palestine? The one that used to be his forebear, a great friend of Hitler. Where the hell is he? I mean, he's thinking about wiping out the Jews. We don't have time for this. Now, this particular threat comes on the heels of the devastating airstrikes that we conducted against Iran and proved that the Ayatollah has no clothes. You know, it's the king has no clothes, but it's the same thing. And according to Memory, the group that investigates inside of Iran, and according to my own group that I trust more than I do any other, and have gotten reports of this every single day, just about for the last 3 weeks, there's been an increase in explicit calls for assassinating Trump as part of the prayer service. As part of the prayer service. Tell me the Christian or Jewish prayer where we pray to kill somebody. Please tell me. And don't tell me there's not a distinction between those two religions and the Muslim religion. Just don't tell me that. I'm not stupid. I'm not uneducated. And I don't have to live in a phony world. And these are backed by constant fatwas, including in June of this year, by not one, not two, but a number of grand ayatollahs. You think there's only one ayatollah? Every town has a big grand ayatollah. The guy's pulling in millions. Just like Mohammed did. Mohammed was, among other wonderful things, a shakedown artist. You got a choice. You could convert. If you didn't, we'd chop your head off or whatever. Put you in a mass grave like they did to the Jews at the vineyard they wanted to take over, the very, very bust olive vineyard in the Middle East. And then they decided on a new tactic that would help them. You could pay. A certain number would be excused from having to convert. Because good old Muhammad and the fat mullahs and the disgusting ayatollahs needed, I don't know what they call it in Arabia, mullah? They needed mullah. The mullahs needed mullah. And so the fatwas are from different ayatollahs, various parts of Iran and from the Shiite kingdom. And they have the same muharib. The muharib is the action. And that is to kill him as an enemy of Allah and Islam. And the reward for you or your family, well, for you is 40 million. That can go to your family, but you'll also have a place in paradise, and you'll have a status as a defender of Islam. So they're trying real hard to kill him. I must tell you, I feel a real personal closeness to this, because in 2018, they tried to kill me twice, but nobody cares. My government didn't care. They don't even care now. I mean, for me, a lot of people wanted to kill me, so screw them. I mean, I figure if I see them, I'll hit them with a baseball bat. That's what Italians are the best with anyway. Well, on that happy thought, my capabilities with a baseball bat, which when I was young were quite good, but nowadays I think I could find one of those big heads if I had to. If I wouldn't do it unless I had to. I want to live my life having killed nobody, but I also don't intend to be killed or have anybody in my family killed or anybody I love. And I hope you feel the same way. Well, thank you, President Trump. Thank you for functioning under these circumstances. I don't know when an American president has functioned under such direct threats of death. Maybe Lincoln, maybe. We probably didn't know about it the same way. You're a really brave guy, my friend. Well, tonight we'll just get in with a prayer for you. God bless America.